Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch every one and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we are down in Fraggle Rock as we head into February of 1986 with 3 more episodes of Fraggle Rock Season 4 titled Uncle Matt's Discovery, Junior Faces the Music, and A Tune for Two, which is not the order they are in on Apple TV Plus, if that's where you're watching these. But that's not all, because we've also got a brief clip of Jim Henson and Kermit from February 1986 on Saturday Superstore.
Wish I could go back in time and have a show when you were allowed to have a show about anything you wanted and you could just fuck around.
Hey, want to get 12 people sitting on a couch watching music videos?
Yeah, and call it something really weird.
Yeah, Saturday Superstore.
It's about music videos, obviously.
Maybe there's a British reason that we don't understand why Superstore is in the name of that show.
And I don't want to hear it.
No. We refuse to learn your ways.
That's why we left, okay? We didn't like the names of your shows.
And when you say we and left, you mean like the Revolutionary War?
Yeah.
Gotcha. just trying to make sure that I was on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, I feel like I got to point out we are recording this at an unusual time for us.
Oh, boy.
Usually we are Sunday morning boys. Right now we are after work boys.
Oh, baby.
So I'm wondering, normally, what would you be doing right now if you weren't recording Commitment? Like, what is your after work routine? What do you do to wind down, to detach?
Have I ever wound down in my entire life? That's a really good question.
Maybe we can give you something like a new routine. Maybe we can figure out here.
I need help. Whatever's going on isn't working for me. No, I do all the cooking for us, for me and my wife, for a lot of reasons that are all good reasons that involve her not being good at cooking food. So
I like that you spun that into a positive.
So I do that. And that's probably what I'd be like thinking about doing right now. I probably would have gone upstairs from my office. Rachel maybe would be watching baseball or something. She sounds like my deadbeat husband. I'd say, hey. And then we'd sit around for a minute. And then in maybe like half an hour from now, I would get up and I would start cooking dinner. Also, every Wednesday night, we have a movie club with some people that we're friends with. So we get on Zoom and we watch a movie. So we'll do that around 8. But that's well after work is over. But,
Ideally.
Yeah. I'm not much of a routine person. So there's nothing that I do in particular. Sometimes I mill around. Sometimes I take a nap.
Just mosey.
I'm mostly just moseying through life, and I'm doing relatively okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
So.
You have a routine. You're a routine guy, huh?
I don't think I do. I think it's like I want to deflate. The moment I'm away from my work desk, I want to go sit down and do nothing. Or do all of the things.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's like one of two gears. Like either I'm going to go sit on the couch and play a video game for 30 minutes to an hour, or I'm going to go do all of the errands I've been thinking about for the last few days.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like I need to put shoes on and leave the house at like 5:01 out the door, go do stuff.
There's too much traffic though, Matt.
Yeah, but I just deal with it or take some back roads or something.
Yeah.
Yesterday I went for a run after work because it was so nice. That was my first run since like August, so it sucked. But
that's better than I'm doing. I haven't run since August of 2015, probably.
When someone was chasing you.
Yeah. Michael Myers. He got his dates confused.
Yeah, he's a little early that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's not a routine per se. And I think like I unfortunately also get sucked into the trap sometimes where I don't necessarily always keep working on stuff after work hours,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll stay at my desk and I'll start working on commitment stuff or just
Oh,
browse. And then suddenly 20 minutes have gone by and I realize, oh, why am I still at my desk?
yeah. I don't do that as much. I'll come back later and do commitment stuff, but
Mm,
if a lot of times I'm like so tense after work. It takes
mm.
my brain so long to get back into a space where I can like communicate with somebody. So right now this is taking all of my effort to be normal in any capacity.
So if we sound off or not normal this episode, you know why. And if by the end of this we have zero energy left, maybe that's why.
But sometimes on Sunday morning, I'm just so sleepy.
Yeah.
So I usually actually do when we do in the afternoon. Sometimes I'm feeling a little more peppy, and I got all that wound up energy from the whole day.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like during recordings, it's like a shot of coffee. It's like it just picks
Yeah,
me up. All my energy is going at like a
yeah.
10, and like so much so that after we finish recording, I need a nap.
Then I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, yeah. It's just talking to my friend Matt. He makes me feel better. And today I had like 7 hours of meetings, and when I got done,
Ooh.
this doesn't happen. I don't have that many meetings usually, but when I got done, my like jaw was tired, and then
Oh.
my mouth was tired because I was doing the like smile, like smiling, and then I was like, oh, my mouth. I guess I got to go podcast for 3 hours now.
Well, hopefully we can bring a more positive vibe while we talk about Fraggle Rock this week.
It's hard not to. They're such positive little guys.
Yeah, they would yell at us if we brought this negative energy about working. They'd be like, "What are you, a doozer?"
Oh my god, it would be so annoying to live with a Fraggle and like work from home. be like, hey, what are you doing in here? Just like milling around in your room and like looking at everything.
Oh, Fraggle roommates would be the worst.
Yeah, totally. Even Boober, like even the most human like Fraggle would
Yeah.
still be more high energy and annoying than a human roommate.
I think
And
I
would
had a
still be like,
Fraggle roommate at one point. Somebody who just stayed on our couch for 6 months without paying rent, and he was quite the Fraggle.
yeah, totally. Yeah, they don't pay rent. That's for sure. They
No,
don't
no,
have
no, no,
any
no, no.
money. They'll give you like a really like a rotten old vegetable.
Yeah. Is this rent?
Just anything? Yeah.
Oh, well, so Sam, I think it's about that time I ask you the age-old question. What did we watch this week?
I have a little surprise at the end of this one. You'll find out what it is.
Can't wait.
First, we watched Uncle Matt's Discovery, air date January 27th, 1986. Uncle Traveling Matt is heading home to Fraggle Rock for a break from his exploration of outer space. But when he arrives at Doc's workshop, he is confronted by a fearful sight. Doc has some sort of face erasing compound, which he's using to erase the faces of some strange little men that he's captured. In actuality, Doc is priming a bunch of garden gnomes to be repainted, but Uncle Matt's thing, as we all know, is that he's dumb as hell, so he runs for his life into the hole to Fraggle Rock. Gobo eagerly awaits the return of his uncle, but it is not quite the reunion that he had in mind, as Matt runs into Gobo's cave and hides under the table, shaking in fear, right in front of all of Gobo's friends. This embarrasses Gobo, I guess, and then it also pisses him off when his uncle won't admit that he was afraid. So Matt and Gobo get in a little tiff, and this goes on until Matt kind of goes off to explore in a huff. Gobo eventually decides that he and his uncle both owe each other an apology, so Gobo goes off after him. They run into each other in the caves, and Matt still refuses to admit he was scared, but they don't let a fight get in the way of some good exploring, and they run across a new cave. And this cave is full of portals that lead to places all over outer space. So they peek through a couple, they see some kangaroos, they see a kid sleeping, and then Matt tries to suggest to Gobo that maybe they should go out and explore in outer space. But wouldn't you know it, now Gobo's the one who's scared. So they admit to each other that maybe sometimes they're both scared and that maybe there's nothing wrong with being scared every now and then. And they head through the portal where they immediately run across a bunch of little men with very scary faces. They run off in terror, but we, the human viewers, know that what they are running from are the garden gnomes that Doc repainted and put back in the front lawn of the Captain's Inn. We get to see the Captain's Inn in this episode. The moral, everyone gets scared sometimes or something, and also apologize to your uncle, even if he's a blowhard idiot. Next up, Junior faces the music. Air date February 3rd, 1986. Cantus the Minstrel returns to Fraggle Rock for a special occasion. It's a blue moon, and Cantus must gather 5 Fraggles to help Junior Gorg? Help a Gorg? Yes, help a Gorg. See, the Gorgs have an artifact called the Royal Kazoo, an instrument that must be played by all Gorgic princes before they can assume the crown of the king. If they can make the kazoo produce a sound, they prove themselves worthy. If they can't, they get banished to the swamp for 100 years. Pa, being understandably concerned that his oafish son won't be able to play the kazoo, puts off the occasion by telling Junior that he can play it the next blue moon. Well, guess what it is right now? It's the blue moon. So Cantus appears to Junior and tells him that he must give his oath to play the kazoo, which Junior does. Junior finds the kazoo, brings it outside to play it, but is urged by his parents not to go through with it. At which point, Pa lets slip that Pa never actually played the kazoo. Neither did his father, or his grandfather, or his grandfather's grandfather, or anybody. Actually, maybe no Gorgic king has ever played the kazoo that he can remember. So, Junior, who's given his word, his oath, decides that he must at least give it a shot to preserve his own honor. And guess what? It plays a beautiful tune. And he does it. And why the 5 Fraggles had to be there, I'm not really sure. They just kind of seem to be watching, but Cantus seemed to think it was important. The moral: hey, just give it a shot. What do you got to lose? Especially if you give your solemn oath. Up in outer space, Doc is trying to get a new job. Miss Ardath writes him a recommendation letter, but I guess, are you not supposed to read your recommendation letters?
I guess not. Not in this case. I guess because it's in a sealed envelope. Maybe that just looks
Sure.
suspicious. But
Yeah, like in its,
in college, I feel like you collect recommendation letters from people
yeah,
to
and you
give
should
to a
probably read it
college.
to make sure it doesn't say what Doc said, which is that he's a slow worker and he's too expensive. So Doc is kind of torturing himself wanting to read this letter. He's going to, this is my surprise. I didn't finish writing these, so here I go.
Oh,
Doc,
surprise!
Doc has this letter. And it's torturing him. He wants to see what's inside of it because he wants to go work at a radio station, I guess, at night or something.
He's going to be their technical advisor, I
Technical
believe.
advisor, whatever bullshit
Technical
that means.
consultant, I believe.
That sounds like something you are invited to do, not that you have to apply to do, but what do I know? So eventually he looks at the letter through the light and sees that it says that he's slow and expensive, but he is also a man of honor, so he goes off to still go through with the interview even though he knows that the letter's going to embarrass him. But somehow, much like I spun my wife being Homer Simpson basically into a good thing, this is spun into a good thing where Miss Ardath's like, he's slow and expensive, but he does a hell of a job, I guess. And he gets the job as the guy at the radio station.
I think it's because he's slow and meticulous.
Sure.
Like he's a good worker, he's just slow.
Finally, we watched A Tune for Two, air date February 10th, 1986. Here's what I wrote myself. I'm not reading off of Muppet Wiki. Wembley loves the Duetathon, a contest in which Fraggles sing duets, but the entire rock is dumbfounded when he chooses Cotter Doozer as his singing partner when everyone else is taken. Meanwhile, Doc and Sprocket try to bring encouragement to their plant Lucinda. That's what Muppet Wiki has to say. I will say that Wembley and Gobo are going to sing together. Uncle Matt ruins everything and decides that he'll sing with Gobo. So Wembley is very dejected. He goes off and cries in a cavern, and Cotter Doozer finds him, and they decide that they're going to sing together. They come up with a whole beautiful song. Wembley goes to declare, I'm singing with Cotter Doozer. The Fraggles say, the fuck you are? You're not singing with Cotter Doozer. You're not singing with any Doozer. And then Wembley gives like an impassioned speech about how everybody's got to get along and that they should let everybody participate in everything and not be hateful. And eventually they agree. And then they sing a beautiful song about togetherness that helps the plant come back to life that Doc and Sprocket have killed. The song rejuvenates the plant. The moral: inclusivity is key.
That one's very clear.
Yeah. And also, just because something's always been done one way doesn't mean it has to keep being done that way. We also watched Saturday Superstore, which is a British show that you probably looked up a little bit about, huh?
You know, that would have been a good idea.
Oh, you usually save my ass.
This is that after work energy, folks. It's a children's television series that aired on BBC One from October 1982 to April 1987. It was a Saturday morning children's music video show, which, having watched the music videos that were a part of this thing, is kind of blowing my mind right now that it's a children's
Yeah,
Saturday
Stevie
morning
Nicks
show.
was one of the things that they watched.
Well, and Radio Africa is a very political song.
It seems like at least part of this show is about a bunch of guys, is about a bunch of people sitting around a table watching music videos and then rating the music video. Is that
Okay, so we were talking about why is this called Superstore. In browsing Wikipedia, I haven't yet learned it, but I did see the line, the show was very similar to its predecessor, Multicolored Swap Shop.
why not? Explain yourselves, British people. Now I do want to hear the answer.
To me, I'm wondering how much more to this show there is that isn't just
Yeah.
music video reviews. Because
Yeah.
what we see is music video reviews, but maybe this is like a 2-hour show where a bunch of shit happens.
But they have Jim and Kermit on, and Jim and Kermit they take their turn rating these music videos. They watch Huey Lewis in the News, which Jim seems to genuinely hate that one. And they watch Stevie Nicks video, and Jim's basically saying, hubba, hubba. And Kermit also is saying, hubba, hubba, I give her a 6 out of 5.
Elsewhere in the world of Muppets around this time, from February 10th to the 22nd, Jim writes in his journal, VTR Bunny Picnic. So they are filming the tale of the Bunny Picnic, and they're filming it in Studio D at Elstree Studios, which is the same studio where The Muppet Show was filmed.
Oh, wow.
But, I'm assuming that's why Jim ends up being on Saturday Superstore, is because he's in London to film Bunny Picnic.
Interesting. Why do they have to go all the way to London to do that?
Fantastic question. We'll talk more about Bunny Picnic when we watch and discuss it in May, but apparently it was Jim's daughter Cheryl, the current president of the Jim Henson Foundation, who encouraged him to take a little break from the high-tech creepy creatures and make an old-fashioned hand puppet story for younger kids. And so this was at least partially inspired by the fact that the Henson staff at the London Creature Shop would often take picnics at the Hampstead Heath near Jim's creature shop.
So
and
are
they
the
would
bunnies creatures?
Oh, I guess technically they're made by the Creature Shop,
Whoa.
I think.
Okay.
But I don't know if we can yet make that distinction until we've seen them in action.
Bean Bunny's a creature.
I would love that to be true.
Yeah.
But yeah, they apparently would see a lot of rabbits running around during their picnics. And Jocelyn Stevenson, one of the co-creators of Fraggle Rock, was like, aha, I've got it. So she went off and wrote Bunny Picnic, which we'll talk about again in May.
I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited for not only the debut of Bean Bunny, but also something just kind of cute again. And I'm hoping for some Emmett Otter energy.
Yeah. I like that Jim was like, hey, my daughter, what do you think about this horrible monstrosity? And she was like, Dad, maybe
So,
you
Dad,
should
I've
make
seen-
something
I've-
people like to look at again.
I watched the first cut of Labyrinth, and I just got to say, stop, please. Just for now, slow down, stop, be cute again. So we'll talk about Saturday Superstore real quick first because it's the shortest and most different of the 4 things we watched this week. We only get to see about 2 minutes of this presumably, hour-long
3 hours
show.
long, I think, is what it said. I think it said on Wikipedia it was 3 hours long.
I can't imagine Jim was there for the full 3 hours.
That's maybe why he seems so crabby. He's like,
Yeah.
what did you get me into?
Maybe they're just bringing their guests in and out throughout the
Yeah.
episodes. But they jump right in. They've just been watching the music video for Radio Africa by Latin Quarter, which, if you have not heard it or have not heard Latin Quarter, Radio Africa is a very slow reggae-ish pop song. It is a very familiar 80s sound if you have not heard it. But they're sort of like a political folk pop band from the 80s.
Matt, it was 3.5 hours long.
That's too long.
That's too long. Imagine doing a show
Sam, I think
for
have done that.
3.5 hours.
I think we have
man.
gotten close a couple times while
I think
recording
you're right.
Kermitman.
I think you're right. And we've had guests and everything. We're basically doing it. Give us a
Oh.
show.
Yeah, the Kermitman Superstore.
Yeah, that'll be fine, I think.
Come on, our BBC Two friends. We'll get OJ Borg on board, and we'll just
Yeah.
do a little trio hosting.
He'd write us a recommendation letter. These 2 chuckle fucks don't know how to do anything.
But with this Latin Quarter song, Kermit immediately gives it a 4. He kind of likes it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to hear Jim's review, but he says it's very nicely done.
That's what he says about all of them.
Less so the next one, which is Huey
Yeah.
Lewis and the News Back in Time music video. For those who don't know, this song is from the Back to the Future soundtrack and sounds a lot like all other Huey Lewis songs.
Do you like Huey Lewis?
I do?
What is Huey Lewis? I just never really got it. I get it in the context of Back to the Future. I think it's
Yeah.
perfect music
Oh, it's
for Back to
perfect.
the Future. To listen to it outside of that context, to me, like, I have friends, I hope that don't listen to this, that like Huey Lewis, and I
Mhm.
pretend to like Huey Lewis for
Ooh,
them.
now they know.
But I don't get it.
I think I'm in maybe the same boat in that you put on a Huey Lewis, I'm not having a bad time.
No, totally. It is like
But-
fun. It's like hang out in the yard drinking a beer music, and that's fun.
Absolutely. But I'm probably never going to put on Huey Lewis.
No.
I'm no Patrick Bateman. But one of the guys on the panel sort of mocks Kermit at first because he's like, yeah, I liked it. And then he's like, and my hand liked it too.
Bold to do in front of Jim Henson.
Oh, and Jim is not taking any shit on
'Cause
this
he's
Saturday
been there-
morning children's show.
Because he's been there for 4 hours.
I guess he is there at the end of the show, so maybe he has been there for the
Who
entire time, and he
knows?
was like,
Yeah.
God damn it, Bernie Brillstein, what'd you get me into?
Yeah, he walks in. They're like, and how long is the show going to be? 3.5 hours.
And then you'll edit
Oh.
it down right. No, it's just it's how long it is.
Yep.
But Kermit rightfully calls out that man and is like, is he making fun of the way I talk?
That man could be the most famous man in Britain.
Yeah, that's the prime minister. Jim says he doesn't know these kinds of videos a lot
that's
and
a
gives
weird
it a
thing to say.
3.
I don't know. what
Yeah,
that means.
I've watched the video. It's just like Huey Lewis and the News, like at like a dance, and then they're at the beach.
Are they
and then
going
they're
like? Are they like swaying around some and like goofing around?
Not really. They're just
Why
kind of
not?
going around this like school dance kind of thing. I think they're trying to like follow up the Back to the Future vibes without
Oh,
actually
sure.
making a Back to the Future based music video.
That makes sense.
But Kermit says, I liked a lot of it, which is a nice thing to say about something you don't like. I liked when the saxophone pushed the guy out and played the solo. That was my favorite part. What happens right after that is one of the guys on the panel goes, and you play the saxophone, Kermit? And Kermit says, no, I don't.
No.
No,
How?
I don't actually play saxophone.
How could you think that? I'm one of the. I famously play an instrument. Like
Mhm.
it's my thing.
Yeah. The speed at which Jim launches that, no, I don't, is amazing. And one of the guys on the panel, they start talking to each other in like a mumbly tone that you can't really hear.
Uh-huh.
But one of the guys says, I always think of a frog playing the saxophone. And Kermit goes, you always think of that.
What's wrong with Jim?
I think he's pissed. He's been there for 3.5 hours.
It's also alarming to, well, first of all, as somebody who I can't say anything bad about anything except to you on this podcast.
I was going to say, we have 130 some episodes proving that wrong.
I think, well, I don't know. I, as somebody who's had to pretend to like Huey Lewis, how about that? I can recognize Jim being like, I thought that was great. As
Right.
like, that was the worst. I would rather die than listen to that ever again. But it's also interesting to have Jim say something and then Kermit have like a different opinion. Is
Right.
like, whoa, what the hell?
Kermit gives it a 4. Kermit's a little bit more into Huey Lewis than Jim's 3
Yeah.
that he gives it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think, I'm wondering if they differed on Radio Africa as well. Because the next song is Stevie Nicks' I Can't Wait. And you give Jim Henson a blonde bombshell in the 80s. He's going to
He
give
can't
that a 5.
hide that smile. He loves it.
Also, watch this video, Sam. Extremely quick editing.
Oh, that's it.
And
I love the beautiful imagery.
there's also a weird bearded man dancing around in the middle of it for no reason. So
Hey.
Jim's watching this going, oh my God,
Hey, it's me.
there's an attractive blonde, extremely quick editing, and a weird bearded man dancing. This was made for me. Well, Kermit wants to give her a 6, but is only allowed to give her a 5. They then go to ask Jim and say, how about having her on the show?
Oh
And
my
Jim,
god, this is embarrassing.
Jim cannot bite his tongue because his response is, well, we stopped doing the Muppet Show, so we probably can't have her on right now.
It's actually probably, you said before we started that it's one of your favorite things you've ever seen him do.
Mhm.
It is genuinely like the funniest he's
Yeah.
ever been.
I think
It's
this is like
he's
the
so
real Jim.
unleashed. I think it is too. Just that is just so cutting, and he says it all with like the most pleasant look on his face.
Oh, that's the worst part. Yeah, he is just smiling as he's like, well, we probably can't have her on the show right now because we stopped doing it. You
You're-
fucking idiot.
Yeah. Why am I on this show? You don't know who I am.
Yeah.
You think I play the saxophone with my little frog puppet? You're making fun of me.
I hope the upcoming Ron Howard documentary is just the entire live recording of this.
Yeah.
That's the entire thing. I just want to see Jim in
Oh.
this moment.
I would love to see more of this. Really, this is like, I feel very strongly if somebody out there knows how we can get more of this.
Yeah, is it on
Send
like
us a-
iPlayer or something? Do we have to use a VPN to watch it?
Yeah, send us a videotape from England. We'll have to get a Betamax player or something. I don't know.
Wow.
What are they using over there?
Wow.
What is?
They use what we use.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So hateful towards England.
Well, their plugs are different.
Their plugs are different. That's fair.
This is the first time I feel like Jim and Kermit have sat in the same room, and Kermit wasn't like, I don't know who this guy is. I felt like they were more like
Mm,
united in their hatred of
yes.
everybody with them, and that actually did make it more fun because it wasn't like there wasn't like that artifice. It was just like we're just hanging out with these assholes.
Right. I want Kermit to turn to Jim and say, you believe this fucking guy?
Yeah.
You hear what he just said to me? Yeah, I think he just asked you about the Muppet Show. Can you fucking believe he just asked me about the Muppet Show?
Yeah.
So let's get into the Fraggle Rock that we watched this week, which I will say off the bat includes some of my favorite and least favorite Fraggle Rock we've ever watched.
I completely agree. There was one of these episodes. I think I gave it maybe the lowest score I've ever given an episode.
Let's get out of the way. Is it Junior Faces the Music?
No,
What?
I actually liked that one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Fascinating. Okay.
Interesting. All
We
right.
had a
Let's.
fight.
Yeah. I will also say Justice for Marjorie because we haven't seen her
Oh shit, you're
this
right.
season since I think the first episode she was in, but we haven't seen her since then.
Yeah, she was in Sprocket's Big Adventure.
Yeah, when they
And
reintroduced
I think
everyone.
that was it. I think you're right.
But the first episode we watched is from January 27th, 1986. It is Uncle Matt's Discovery, written by Jerry Jewell, directed by Norman Campbell. It starts off with Doc scaring Sprocket awake with some garden gnomes because Miss Ardath wants him to repaint them. But he's a disgruntled worker because he hates garden gnomes because they're too damn cute.
He hates garden gnomes. This guy hates everything.
But specifically because they're too cute.
Yeah,
That Doc doesn't fit with my understanding of Doc.
I feel like
Especially where
he's-
he ends up in this episode.
Yeah. He's loved cute things before, I believe. Right?
Well, and yeah, for a man that walks around in a bathrobe talking to his dog all day, I don't feel like you can be too judgmental when it
He
comes
is extremely cute.
Yeah, he's a cute man.
He had to look tough in front of Miss Ardath, though. You know.
I guess so. But
Yeah.
he also wants to please Miss Ardath, so he is doing the job for her.
That's
I'm sure to
true.
her face, he wasn't like, I don't want to paint your garden gnomes.
Well, he wants a different job. Maybe he's trying to get fired.
Well, down in Fraggle Rock, they're expecting Uncle Traveling Matt to return. And then we're just back up to Doc almost immediately
Yeah.
because Uncle Matt obviously has to travel through Doc's workshop. But Uncle Matt's looking kind of rough.
Yeah, they actually, maybe they don't ever explain that, do they?
I think he's just been adventuring for so long that he's in rough shape.
That he just stinks.
He's got ripped clothes. He's got dirt all over him. But he walks right in, does not get detected. Gets picked up by Doc and placed on the table amongst the other gnomes. It's interesting because
Is it?
Well,
Okay.
so he plays dead essentially, like he stands there still trying to disguise himself amongst the gnomes.
Uh-huh.
But why would he?
Yeah, especially when like he's talked to so many people, and in this very episode later, he's like, let's go talk to that girl.
Right. He has no problem interacting with humans. He's not afraid of them.
No.
So why would he suddenly freeze when confronted by Doc?
It's almost like this episode sucks.
I will give you that 50% of this episode sucks.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The end won me over. But this is when Uncle Matt gets. Every time I say his name, I feel weird saying Matt, even though many humans and other people have that name.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I
lot.
don't say the word Matt very often.
Very common name. Also, there's like doormats. There's other mats. Bath mat.
Man, I don't talk about any of these very often.
When you get in a bathtub, do you ever say, "Hey, I'm
Matt.
Bath Matt"?
I'm Bath Matt. Devin just hears from down the hall. She's like, what was that? Are you okay? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. I just thought of a good joke and I had to say it out loud. I'm Bath Matt.
Oh boy. Should just wrap the podcast up right now.
Yeah, I don't know if we can top I'm Bath Matt.
I can't do voices, so if I was Batman, I would just be like, hey,
you'd be George Clooney.
Hey, what's up? Yeah.
But this is when Uncle Traveling Matt sees Doc priming the gnomes and says, he's erasing that little man's face.
Yeah, this is almost okay, I guess. But he gets so scared.
He's a scaredy cat. But down in Fraggle Rock again, Gobo is telling Wembley that, red flag number 1 says, my Uncle Matt never changes his mind because he's always right. He calls Matt brave and fearless. And this is, of course, the moment when Uncle Traveling Matt runs in screaming, they're trying to erase my face.
I guess I just don't buy this. I don't buy this. Matt feels out of character to me in this episode.
Oh, interesting.
Like, he's not really a scaredy cat, is he?
No, because I think he's too dumb to be scared often.
That's generally the case, yeah.
My favorite Huey Lewis song. But yeah, I think there is a few off-character things here with Uncle Traveling Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you raise a good point that he normally is not scared.
And I feel like it also normally wouldn't phase. So he's scared. He comes out. Gobo's like, you were scared. And Matt's like, I wasn't scared. I feel like normally that wouldn't phase Gobo as much as it does in this episode. Like, why he takes it so... I guess because it's in front of all of his friends.
Right.
But
he's embarrassed.
It doesn't seem like he ever notices that Matt is stupid until this episode. Oh, this was what was bothering me during the episode. It's coming back to me. They're afraid of everything. They're always afraid of outer space. Like, everyone is afraid of it except Gobo and Matt. So,
yeah.
like I think every episode, like either Wembley or Boober is trembling in fear. So to be mean about somebody being scared of something, it just didn't ring true to me.
You know what? You're kind of turning me around on this.
That's right.
Towards the negative. But the next day, Gobo stands up to Matt saying, you should tell the truth and just admit you were scared because being a liar is worse than being a coward. True.
Is that true?
Like lying in general, it's going to get you into a lot more trouble than being afraid of something.
Running away. Yeah, I guess.
I hate haunted houses. I will not go in one.
Uh-huh.
I will admit that to you in the podcast, everywhere, anyone who's listening. I hate haunted houses. I feel like that is not nearly as bad as if I lied about almost anything else.
I mean, I suppose that's another weird example. But I'm afraid of haunted houses too, Matt. I've never been in one. But I'd love to go in a haunted house. Every year when it's Halloween Horror Night, I watch all the videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to go there so bad. But I know
that's more interesting to me that you've never been in one. Like you just know it's not for you.
Scared.
I've tried a handful of times and I am constantly reminded this is not for me.
That's the thing though, is that I think if I went in one, I'd be like, I think I'd have fun. I think I'd be like, oh.
I have a very specific memory that I think highlights just exactly how much I hate them. Yeah. I went to Universal Studios, not during Halloween time.
Oh, Matt, what scared you?
They had a haunted house, but it was like a Universal monster haunted house that exists year round. Don't know if it's still there. No, this was like 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
Me and my girlfriend at the time and her friend went in there, and they were very scared, and I was very scared. But they were making me the human shield and walking behind me the whole time. Yeah. And I was like, no, fuck this. I hate this. This sucks. And we walk into this room and it's just like a freezer with a bunch of body bags hanging from the ceiling.
Oh no.
And I'm like, one of these is gonna move. There's too many of these things in this room for one of them to not suddenly move as I walk past it. And of course, that happened. And I think we ended up taking like a shortcut
to
baby
get
exit.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt. Were there people in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Not
And
just moving bags.
I'm not like, I didn't like completely, I don't like freeze up. I'm not like, it's not an actual like phobia. Like I don't like freeze in place in a haunted house, but I do say, hey, this sucks. I hate this. Let's go.
We should go to Halloween Horror Night together.
I feel like we should do some sort of haunted house together, but maybe.
I'm so scared.
I know. So Doc gets all the gnomes primed and ready for painting. And now Sprocket has a beret and a paint palette because he's ready to be Doc's assistant.
I loved this part.
He's very cute. Speaking of cute things, Doc doesn't hate Sprocket in a beret.
Yeah. Fuck you, Sprocket. Be uglier.
Doc asks for a can of flesh tone paint, and Sprocket struggles. Because, as Doc realizes, Sprocket is colorblind.
This was so cute. And I love that Doc was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't realize.
Yeah, and he also realizes something that Crayola has later on realized, that maybe flesh tone shouldn't be a monolithic term for the color you're looking for, Doc.
That was that did strike me odd in the year 2024.
But I mean, like even 10, 15 years ago, and especially 40 years when this episode came out, there was still flesh colored crayons in crayon boxes, and that meant tan, white.
That meant
so I understand that was the vernacular of the time, the flesh colored paint. But even Doc at the end, when Sprocket hands him purple, he's like, yeah, you know what? These gnomes can be white, black, brown, or purple. So he starts to paint the gnome purple, and I didn't know what to expect, but I will say what ends up happening is not at all what I expected to happen.
He does a really good job.
He does a great job.
Yeah.
But down in Fraggle Rock, Wembley's trying to help Gobo and his uncle traveling Matt make up. And Matt ties his shoes together and has to hop out, and it's kind of a weird, awkward moment.
He's just being embarrassing.
But then they both sing a nice duet that they don't know is a duet. It's one of those crossfadey between each other duets that Fraggle Rock does from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And a sad Uncle Matt and Gobo are singing about how they don't understand each other.
This is another thing that came out of nowhere for me, because I feel like this, and this is fine to do, but this level of their relationship has never been explored. Like Matt has felt so aloof from the fact that he is Gobo's father, and we've seen him be genuinely extremely cruel to Gobo in flashbacks, that for them to be singing this song about like, oh, you're my dad, basically. Was kind of like, he's never been your dad before. This guy's a jerk.
Yeah, this song I have to imagine resonates with a lot of people who have issues with their dad.
Yeah.
And could just as easily be a Junior and Pa song.
That would be nice. I bet that would make more sense.
Yeah, but I think it's a really good song. But I think that you're right in that it doesn't fit their relationship or this situation necessarily as well. Like I feel like they could have a more real conflict other than you're lying about being scared, and I don't like that.
You went under a table and it embarrassed me.
Yeah, but I think you could potentially scale this out to like you hear about a family member or your parent or whatever lying to someone, and they're lying and trying to get them to admit it, and they won't. Like, there's real conflict there that isn't quite explored in this relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
But Wembley is accidentally extremely smart for once after the song and uses some reverse psychology to convince Gobo that he should go talk to his Uncle Matt, saying things like, so, him being afraid is a good enough reason to never talk to him again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Gobo's like, well, no. And so Gobo leaves to go talk to him, and it turns out Wembley had no idea what he was doing.
He thought it was a good idea never to talk to him again.
Yeah. Or I think he's just curious. He wants to know what Gobo thinks is best.
Right.
But Uncle Matt is lost and tired of exploring. And Gobo and Matt discover a terrifying Fraggle scarecrow.
This is weird. Why do they do that?
It looks like it's out of like Mad Max or something.
Yeah.
Or like it feels like a moment in Lost where suddenly you have all these questions of who put that there? And I need like a Fraggle flashback episode to show
Yeah.
the ancient culture who put.
Who's scaring people away? Much like last year, you'll know you're never going to get any closure on it either.
Nope, this is the Dharma Shark.
And then they rotate the scarecrow and it drops him through the floor, which is
Yeah.
also quite strange.
Yeah, Uncle Traveling Matt hits it accidentally. It spins around and opens up a trap door that they fall through. And
You
I
shouldn't
was
make the thing that's trying to scare people away the thing also that you push to go into the thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but like if the idea is that it scares them enough, they're not going to touch it, right?
I guess so. It's not. Yeah, I guess so. But they do immediately.
Yeah,
So
of course.
flawed. It's like they probably had like how the nuclear materials are like hidden or like they're buried and we have to like figure out a way to show people of the future not to touch them
Right.
with symbols.
Yeah.
So the Fraggle president probably sat for like a decade and was like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna teach Fraggles of the future not to? I know. We'll put up the doofy looking scarecrow and put the switch to open the thing we don't want him to find on it. Brilliant,
Yeah.
sir. That's
It
where
raises
like,
a lot
society
more
moving away.
questions than the average Fraggle Rock episode raises.
It does. I agree.
But before we get to find out where they went, we find out Doc has been painting the best, worst garden gnomes you've ever seen. The first one we get to see is purple skin, red nose, handlebar mustache, and one eye up by its hairline.
And you didn't like this one.
The eyeball up by the hairline was just a little too wacky.
The first one is never that good, you know, when you're doing this kind of thing.
And in this moment, I was like, wow, Doc might get fired.
I thought the same thing too. Miss Hardath is not gonna like this.
This does not match the vibe of the
cute and
captain's
normal.
inn.
Yeah, and they look horrible when he brings them out to put it back in front of the place at the end.
But we do find out that Matt and Gobo fell down the cave and discover a bunch of new passageways. And they go out one, and they end up in Australia.
Is this the part that you did like? Is this when you started liking it
Yes.
again?
Once we
Okay.
start exploring these options, like that, it feels like it opens up a lot to the lore.
Yeah.
Even if we don't get answers about things like the Scarecrow.
Right.
Similar to Lost, the fact that there is a history there and somebody did this is interesting to me.
Uh-huh. And at some point the Fraggles knew that they could travel all over the world.
Right. Predating Uncle Traveling Matt, obviously, because he would have used this service earlier if he could.
Yeah.
But your Hollow Earth theory is now fully true.
Uh-huh.
Because they can go from Canada to Australia in a matter of minutes.
Just like Godzilla, our friend Godzilla.
Just like Godzilla. After they discover that second entrance to Australia, they discover a third entrance to outer space, which is the Narnia one, where they come out of a wardrobe into a small child's bedroom. And this is when Uncle Matt realizes that he can use the passageways to continue his explorations, but still spend more time at home. Well, after they leave the small child's bedroom, they find another passageway that takes them to the suburbs. But look, they're outside in Doc's neighborhood.
Yeah, and they're
'Cause
really outside too, which is
they're-
crazy.
They're really outside, which I had read about in the Fraggle Rock visual history, where they talked about wanting to get Doc and Sprocket out of the workshop.
Oh,
I
right.
did not know that meant getting them outside with the Fraggles. And so we see Doc and Sprocket outside in front of the inn with all the gnomes lined up, and shocking. Well, we end this episode with the little girl from the room earlier for some reason, staring at her wardrobe as we hear Uncle Matt saying, "The magic is always there as long as we keep looking for it."
It's like the ending of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, she's the little kid with the broom.
Yeah, it does feel like she's gonna like go down there, and the next episode they'll be like, "Oh wow."
Yeah, it feels like a Marvel end credits where like she's the next Doc or something.
Yeah, it does.
Worth noting, the little girl has a Grover stuffed toy in her room.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, and I think I don't know that I definitely didn't hate it as much as you did, but I thought the beginning of the episode was okay. And then becomes more important as it goes on to sort of the history of Fraggle Rock.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I didn't hate the ending as much either, I guess, as we talked about it. Because it just really did feel like the conflict was so weak that it was like a missed opportunity in some respects. Because Gobo and Matt's relationship is genuinely weird. It's just not weird in the way that they made it be in this episode.
Yeah.
And I don't buy Matt being that sad, because he's so sad in the beginning too, when everybody's laughing at him and he's like got his feet in the water and he's like, I'm such a loser. He's too stupid to be like that.
Yeah, I think they could do more with that if they tried to lean into like, oh, this is the real
This is a real
Matt
guy. Yeah.
behind the facade of the world traveler.
I guess the problem with that is that we only ever see him not with anybody else. So there's no reason for him to pretend to be anything when he's out in the world, you know?
Right.
Like he's writing letters like he's big and brave.
Right. So
but
that should be the real him as well, is like him at
Yeah.
the mall in Edmonton,
Yeah.
throwing pennies at people or whatever he's doing.
Just flicking pennies at people, spitting on them off the balcony. Little bastard. Yeah, so I gave this episode, and it was a Jerry Jewell episode, which broke my heart.
Yeah.
So I gave this episode 1 star.
Wow. Again, I think the next one is my least favorite episode we've ever watched. So
Wow, that's fascinating to me.
yeah. The next episode is from February 3rd, 1986. Junior Faces the Music, written by Bob Sandler, directed by Terry Maskell. I'm not sure why, but Muppet Wiki notes that Bob Stutt performs Boober Fraggle in this episode, and he lip synced it to Dave Goelz' voice. So
I hate
Dave,
that I read that because I noticed it.
yeah, it's just a little off. Like you don't necessarily, like, before starting this podcast, at least, I never thought about necessarily the performance behind Fozzie or Piggy in a scene. But when I now see Fozzie and Piggy in the same scene, I'm like, which one's better? Which one's
His mouth's
Frank?
just flapping a little too much. There's just something off. That's not Boober.
And yeah, I don't know why Dave wouldn't have been available. Like, it could have just been, personal reasons. But there's nothing that the Muppets were doing at this time that I know of that only Dave was involved in.
Yeah.
Like, he helped out with Labyrinth stuff, but so did most of the people on Fraggle Rock. So
maybe it was his birthday.
Maybe. Gave him his day off. Just recorded a bunch of lines ahead of time and they lip synced it later.
Right. That's the thing, is that it wasn't like out of nowhere, obviously.
Yeah.
Not that there's any way we could ever know, but
yeah, I guess we also, like, we're going off of, again, Muppet Wiki says lip synced to Dave Goelz' voice. There's not a source linked like there always is for Muppet Wiki, so there's not like an interview that we can point to for this. So maybe it was that Dave Goelz ADR'd it later, but the Muppet Wiki article says lip synced to his voice, which makes it seem like he pre-recorded his lines.
That's a good point.
So Doc's getting a new job. He's got a letter of recommendation from Miss Ardath to give to Mrs. Faith at the radio station, where he's applying to be the new technical consultant.
He really gives us a lot of information.
Yeah, I was a little bit.
The lady's name.
Maybe this is my headcanon. Maybe they call her Mrs. Faith, so we don't think that she's competing for Doc's love.
That's what I thought too. I was like, is there another working woman that he
right?
has? Yeah, another boss of a different business that he's in love with for some reason.
Here's a reference for very few people. Is he like Phil Hartman in Jingle All the Way? Where he's doing handyman stuff for all the ladies in town, and they all love Doc. And they're like, hey, how about you come over and grease my knobs later?
Grease my knobs.
That's what happens in Jingle All the Way, Sam.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But yeah,
It's disgusting.
Blame Phil Hartman, not me.
I mean, for Doc, to think about Doc doing it, to think about Phil Hartman doing it's natural as as anything. He's a handsome man,
greasing knobs left and right.
Yeah.
But then
he's fixing plumbing. He's trimming hedges.
I think Phil Hartman comes off as competent in Jingle All the Way. Is the distinction?
Yes, that's the problem. Is that he's a legitimate threat, and
right?
Doc
yeah,
is constantly covered in flop sweat and screaming.
Yeah, Doc's more like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And his dog is a total cock block, I'm sure.
See, this is what people come to commitment for. This in-depth analysis of comparing Jingle All the Way, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Doc from Fraggle Rock. No one's ever done that before.
I think you're probably right. And that's why we're so successful.
This is my Garden State moment. Do something no one else is doing.
I thought you meant listen to the Shins. This song's gonna She's like, she does that. She's like, "This is gonna change your life," and she puts it in his ear, and it's me saying like, "Doc's never gonna get fucked if Sprocket's hanging out all the time." And the movie never happens because the guy from Scrubs leaves.
He just leaves the elevator or whatever. He's just like, I'm good. Never mind.
Too quirky. We can handle some quirk. In the early 2000s, we loved quirk, but not that much quirk.
Yeah. So what we're saying is right now we're ruining someone's future relationship when they try to
Don't-
share this episode of the podcast with a
Yeah.
someone they're courting.
Don't
They're
let
gonna be like,
anybody listen to this.
So the podcast you like is the one where they talk about Sprocket being a cock block.
That's right. I'm a manic pixie dream girl.
Well, Doc is trying to think, what would Miss Arda have said about me in my recommendation letter? And in my head, I'm like, probably this guy just painted the 12 wildest yard gnomes you've ever seen. Have you seen the front of my inn? That's this guy's fault. But Doc is tempted to read it, so he gives it to Sprocket for safekeeping. And Sprocket does a little Karnak the Magnificent impression from Johnny Carson and holds the letter up to his head and like thinks about what's in it. And he reacts like he knows what's in it. So I guess he has the gift.
I think it's common that you're not supposed to read these things. I just Google searched it, and there's a
Huh.
bunch of things that are just like, no, of course you're not supposed to read it. What?
Well, I guess like you don't get to intervene when you put down references for a job.
This is a great way, I'm just realizing, to trick people into saying what they really think about you.
You could also ask.
Oh, I guess. I'm shy.
Well, Candace is approaching down in Fraggle Rock and walks up to Gobo and Wembley and says, I need 5 Fraggle witnesses. You will do. Which is a little rude.
Par for the course for him. I feel like I like
Yeah,
the
but-
characters who come in and they don't really give a shit who the main Fraggles are.
Yeah, you're like, I'm here. I got shit to do. Don't really care what you're doing right now. Get your
Yeah.
friends. Come with me. But Candace says they need to meet him at the Gorg Garden because he needs to help Junior Gorg. So Junior apparently once asked Pa if he could try the Royal Kazoo. And Pa said, maybe once in a blue moon. And apparently only when you play the Royal Kazoo is when you find out that you are truly great.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like this is the lore dumping that's bad. Where they're just like, yeah, there's a Royal Kazoo now you never heard of. You have to play it to know if you're great. And you need 5 Fraggle witnesses. And it needs to be a blue moon. And this is how it happens. And I just got
You're right.
exhausted.
You're right, and I don't know why I don't agree with you that this is a bad episode, because really this is the kind of episode that I should dislike. I just feel like it was like funny, and Junior wasn't driving me crazy enough that it was like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt proud. I liked the through line of I thought it was just to skip to the end. Sorry. I loved that at the end. Pa's like, well, I never really played the kazoo, and like I guess my dad didn't really play the kazoo either. Just like that realization was funny.
Yeah.
And also I felt proud of Junior when he could play the kazoo. You know, you didn't feel a little proud of him?
I guess a little bit, but it also clearly doesn't matter.
That's true, because Pa will never die, and so he'll never be the king.
Right. Even though I have a suspicion that Candace has it out for Pa for some reason.
Oh, from this episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
When he appears to Junior from behind the sheet as like this shadowy figure, one, he's also a little rude to Junior because he says, cease this weeping and get your chin up. Both of them.
That's mean. That's uncalled
That's
for.
so uncalled for.
Yeah.
But then it's like he's encouraging Junior to take the throne.
Usurp his father. That
Yes.
is true. Now that
It's
you
like,
mentioned
you could
that.
be a great Gorg king.
That's a fun wrinkle if at the end Pa was like, oh, that asshole.
But yeah, we learn along the way that if Junior fails to play the kazoo properly, he will be banished to the swamp for 100 years.
That's what happened to Shrek. That's why he's there.
He's a Gorg.
He's a Gorg.
If you miss, if people don't talk about this, if you rearrange the letters in Ogre, it almost spells Gorg.
You got to get rid of one of them.
Yeah, you
It's-
got to do some
And add another, maybe. Yeah, but close.
Yeah, close enough.
You can get org or gore.
Maybe through the years he's just forgotten what he was, and so he's like, I think ogre sounds right.
And
I
all
don't
his hair
know.
fell out.
Mm-hmm.
Junior Gorg would do a big fart in a mud puddle, though, you know, or whatever Shrek does.
Well, Candace tries to convince Junior to become king by singing the song "Ball of Fire."
Did you hate the
And
song?
no, the song rules.
Yeah, I like the song. I'm also realizing so after Cantus does all this, he's like, you got to give your oath. You got to go get the kazoo and play it later. So then Junior has to sneak into their bedroom to get to his parents' bedroom to get the kazoo. I'm also realizing this episode does that thing I hate where the same thing happens 3 times.
Yep.
And
I
I
wrote that
still
down.
don't hate.
I was like,
And I
Sam's going to
still don't
dislike
hate
this
it.
because this episode does the thing where the same thing happens repeatedly.
It does, but for some reason, this one was clicking with me.
And in the past, you haven't liked Gorg episodes.
I know. By all, this is the exception to the rule. This should
This
be
is-
one of my least favorite episodes.
This is an episode, Sam, I paused twice while watching, which is
Wow.
not a thing I normally do.
Like wander away and do something else?
Yeah, I was getting bored and distracted, which is not a thing I normally do to Fraggle Rock.
That is interesting.
Anytime Pa and Ma are just talking, I'm bored out of my mind in this episode.
Oh. I like them in this episode. I like
Mm.
their back and forth of Ma. Like, obviously, she's always smarter than Pa, but I feel like she's got like a meaty role in this episode. Pa is like, just like, I think it's kind of clever. Like the story, I think the conceit is kind of clever, I think. And I wasn't like, I didn't see it coming that Pa was like, I never actually got around to playing it either. And I'm like,
Right.
"Oh, that's good. That's fun."
Well, and you were talking about being proud of Junior. I am proud of Junior after he sneaks in and does all the things that he confesses to his parents what he did.
Yeah. I didn't quite understand why he needed to do that, I guess, but
Yeah, I don't know either. But I think I liked that he was willing to do it.
yeah.
But the Fraggles, I think, are in the same boat as I'm in, where we're like, why do we care about this?
They are just like standing off to the side, like, why? We could
Yeah.
be downstairs playing. What are we doing up here?
Yeah, like, Candace, why are we here?
Uh-huh.
But that's when we find out Pa has never played the Royal Kazoo and thinks it's actually probably broken, which they test using the bellows from their fireplace. And turns out, no, this thing works fine. Well, Junior admits also to Candace, the shadow monster, that he can't play the kazoo. But then he tries, and now he can play it.
The episode ends.
Well, because Candace reveals that this is the first time a Gorg has taken the chance. And of course, that means he succeeds.
Yeah. This just felt weighty to me. Like this was built up and felt important that Junior did this, and I could feel the character being like, I have to honor what I said I would do. And it just all felt believable to me.
All right. I think I don't disagree with you there that I think this episode is believable and like what happens. I think I just didn't like how we got there.
Just boring.
I was just bored out of my mind.
Fair enough.
Well, they end the episode jamming out to Ball of Fire once again, and then we find out Doc got the new job as the technical consultant at the radio station because the letter did say he was a slow worker and that he is overpaid, but apparently he's still a good worker.
And that's
so
fine. Yeah.
I guess it's okay.
I really did think he was going to unfold it and be like, it said I fixed a slow drip, and
that is so much better, Sam. If it was like a Mad Magazine issue.
Yeah, he did a fold in. It's like, and I never overpay for materials or something like that.
The fact that they explain away the slow worker part by saying that like he's slow, but it's because he's so good.
Yeah.
But they don't explain.
The part. Yeah.
No, they're like, but he is expensive. Well, what'd you rate that episode, Sam?
I rated that episode 3 stars, and 3 out of 4, and I wrote clunky but cute.
Well, the last episode we're discussing this week is from February 10th, 1986. It is A Tune for Two, written by Laura Phillips and directed by Les Rose. And it's cold outside for Doc because it's autumn. Doc comes in and kind of starts rambling about something that is really hard to follow both for us and Sprocket. And he reveals that he's talking about the garden. He kind of misses
poetic about the changing of the seasons and the bounty of nature.
Correct. And basically it boils down to he misses gardening.
Yeah.
But thankfully, they had their plant Lucinda inside, which was apparently Sprocket's responsibility, and Sprocket has not been doing a good job of taking care of her.
I gotta take exception with this because Doc would notice before this.
You'd think so.
How long was he outside for? Several weeks?
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of, to introduce a giant plant in the middle of the workshop that we've never seen before.
That too.
And to say that, like, yes, Sprocket, you've been taking care of Lucinda. Sprocket's like, shit.
Yeah, Doc's never seen it before either, obviously.
Well, Doc decides the best way to resurrect Lucinda is by telling her a little bit about himself. But down in Fraggle Rock, Wembley is very excited about something. And the Fraggles are all practicing for the duetathon. Big old Fraggle singing contest where each Fraggle picks the Fraggle to perfectly blend their voice with. Red and Moki are, of course, singing together. Red wants to sing about dragon slaying, but Moki doesn't want to sing about violence. Checks out from a character standpoint.
Completely.
Also checking out from a character standpoint, Wembley got so excited, he forgot to talk to Gobo about the duetathon.
I think this episode made me realize that Wembley is my favorite guy.
Wembley's fantastic.
I love Wembley episodes.
There's an episode in the new Back to the Rock season called I'm Pogi.
Mhm.
That is maybe not even, it is probably the best Back to the Rock episode that I've seen so far. It is maybe one of the best episodes of Fraggle Rock I've ever seen, including the old series. And it is a very Wembley-focused episode. So they know how to use him to tell a story. I think he's the most relatable.
Yeah, he's got a lot to learn, and he's not stubborn about learning it. And
Right.
he's very he engages with the world in a very interesting way.
Well, and I thought when this happened, this realization, I was like, oh no, Gobo's already got another partner. He's going to sing with Boober,
Right.
or something, because Wembley forgot, obviously Gobo must have found somebody. But no, because Gobo is a good friend.
Yeah, Gobo already knew that Wembley wasn't going to remember.
Yeah.
And wrote the whole song for him anyway.
Yeah. He's already been writing the song. He's planning on singing with his best friend Wembley. And then Uncle Traveling Matt shows up to ruin everything.
That when you put it that way, that is a nice little character moment that Gobo isn't well, you didn't ask me. Because who else is Wembley going to ask?
Right. You don't need to ask.
Oh.
But Uncle Traveling Matt came back because he would love to sing with his nephew Gobo for the duetathon.
And this was sweet too, because Wembley is you have to, you're going to break his heart, which is also believable and very sweet.
He immediately, selflessly gives up his duet partner and lets Gobo perform with Uncle Traveling Matt, even though Gobo doesn't really want to.
Who would want to?
But
will lose.
Yeah, Wembley's a people pleaser, so he jumps in and lets them partner up.
There's a really funny part later where Matt is and then the drums come in. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Really big drums.
There's some top tier Dave goals in this episode. I'm glad he was able to be there on set for this one, because Uncle Traveling Matt rehearsing that song was definitely the biggest laugh of the episode for me.
Yeah, I like that.
We then get to see Wembley walking through the caves saying, I'm not going to cry. 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 And Cotterpin rolls in saying, go ahead. I've never seen a Fraggle cry. And instantly regrets telling him to cry, being like, oh, no. Sorry. Stop crying, please. But Cotterpin talks about how she has a positive outlook on life because she never takes no for an answer. And I was like, oh shit, is Wembley going to go be like, hey, Uncle Matt, you don't get to sing with Gobo.
Yeah.
But that's not what he does. Instead, if he goes to ask Boober to be his partner in the duetathon, and Boober is too nervous to do a duetathon, says, you know what, Wembley, I just can't. And Wembley respects that.
Yeah, I feel that too. I wouldn't want to do the duetathon. I think I'd be very much in Boober's boat of being oh, you want me to get up and act and sing in front of everybody? I think I'll probably just hide for a couple weeks instead of do that.
Unless Tosh
Unless
Fraggle showed up.
Asked me to do it, then I'll do anything.
Because Tosh Fraggle walks up and's like, hey, Boober, I wrote a song with you in mind. You want to be my partner for the duetathon? And Boober is enchanted in a way we have never seen Boober.
Sometimes it's just that way, you know?
But there is a very fun moment at the end of that scene when Boober's like, oh, I'm just gonna, when somebody, he's trying to make an excuse for why he's now doing the duetathon. And there's a small pause where Wembley just gives him a look like, really, dude? You're going to do this to me? And Boomer's got nothing. He's got no defense for what he's done to his friend.
Yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes you gotta let your boys go.
So we get a sad Wembley song called Duet for One. It's a cute short song. We're just him singing about how he's got a song for two, but he's only one person.
It is cute. I like that.
And it ends at the Doozer building, of course, because that's where he's got to run into Cotterpin. But
And
first,
there's a really good piece of puppeteering where he like slumps up to the Doozer bridge
mhm.
and then he puts his arm on the thing and he like puts his head down on his arm. It was just like masterful. Something about it was so beautiful.
I think it's one of those Fraggle Rock things where it feels effortless. That
Yeah,
like
totally.
it's one of those things where it'd be very easy to not notice the work that goes into making something like that happen.
Yeah.
Well, Wembley tells Cotterpin about the duet-a-thon, and she volunteers to be his partner. And this is when we get cut back to Uncle Traveling Matt rehearsing his fantastic song that he's working on.
Ruining Gobo's life.
And
Gobo is like, I'm not doing this. Sorry.
And Gobo tries to tell him about Wembley and what the whole predicament that they've got themselves in. And at first, Uncle Traveling Matt does not remember Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
But then Gobo says, Wembley, he's my roommate, my very best friend. And Uncle Traveling Matt says, oh, yes, Gobo's little friend Wembley, of course.
See, this is what Matt is. You cannot engage with him on an emotional level like you tried to do a few episodes ago.
But of course, Uncle Traveling Matt misunderstands what Gobo is trying to tell him about Wembley. Really wanted to do. Yeah. I mean, I understand Uncle Traveling Matt misunderstanding this. No one else should misunderstand this. Because he's saying Wembley really had his sights set on being in the duet-a-thon. And Uncle Traveling Matt goes, you know what? You're right. I will sing with Wembley and you can sit out. Wembley and Cotterpin have a little disagreement about their songwriting, but thankfully it wraps up pretty quickly because they talk about the things they don't have in common because I'm a Fraggle, you're a Doozer, uh-oh. And then decide, but what if we write about friendship? We have that in common. And now all of the Fraggles have devolved into chaos and they're all arguing with each other because they all want to help Wembley and fix the situation that has presented itself. But they don't already know that Wembley has solved his problem. And so he shows up to register himself and Cotterpin for the duet-a-thon. But Gillis
causes quite a stir.
Yeah, we have a little discriminating Gillis Fraggle, who is running the registration, says, you cannot sing with a Doozer.
Yeah, he's being a total worm.
Yeah, even when Wembley's like, I don't think there's anything against that. And Gillis is like, no, I think I'm deciding right now there's a rule. Only Fraggles can sing in the duet-a-thon. And Wembley decides, well, then maybe I don't want to be a Fraggle anymore. I will say, Wembley, for someone who normally, quite Wembley, he's a man of conviction.
He stands up for his friend in this one, big time. Well,
Doc is continuing to talk to Lucinda, saying, when I was 13, I fell in love for the first time with Henrietta Higglethorpe.
Then he starts to be like, one afternoon.
I knew this was going to happen.
Where are they going at?
They're just walking home from school, Sam.
All right.
I knew it. When I heard that happen in the episode, I was like, Sam is going to speculate about what they did on their walk home from school.
This is the story of when I lost my virginity, plant.
I think they kissed.
That's the gateway. That's the gateway drug to all the rest of it, you know?
Well, yeah, he does tell Lucinda that no one could square a hypotenuse like Henrietta Higglethorpe.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, down in Fraggle Rock, Cotterpin's friends, who are just real dicks,
yeah,
are telling her, my mom and dad said you can't trust a Fraggle. They're not dependable. All Fraggles hate Doozers, and they don't care about Doozer feelings.
They honestly are not incorrect.
They're not far off.
Yeah.
But we have seen examples of Fraggles treating Doozers nicely.
Yeah, but their gut reaction in the beginning was to be like just very dismissive of Doozers. There's a history there.
There is some hatred, I will say, to some Fraggles.
Yes, right.
And I think we see that from Gillis Fraggle, who like straight up does not consider Cotterpin like a person.
Yeah, right.
But Wembley comes in to break the bad news to Cotterpin that the Fraggles are discriminating against Doozers and says that he is going to go back and stand up for her. And he says to her, "You've got just as much right to sing in the duet-a-thon as anybody else." And he's like talking to himself. He's like, Fraggles don't hate anybody. We don't. I know that's got to be true. I think this is a really well done metaphor episode for discrimination.
Yeah. I agree.
I like when Fraggle Rock is a little bit clearer with their morals at times in a way that's like, let's actually take the time to teach children something important here and not just, if you got a kazoo, I say play it.
Yeah, okay. Maybe if it's hard to think of what the actual point of the episode was when you're writing the episode description, it's not so good.
But Gillis doesn't see the Doozers as people, like I mentioned. But Wembley is awesome in this moment and fights back, saying just because something's always been doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
And good friend Gobo immediately joins in the cause.
I love that. Good for Gobo.
Yeah, he jumps in and says, if Cotterpin Doozer can't sing in the duet-a-thon, I won't either.
Yeah.
And all the other Fraggles join in because Gobo is their elected leader.
Their boy king or whatever.
And says, we won't sing. We won't sing. And at first, Gillis is like, well, I guess we got to cancel the duet-a-thon.
That was kind of funny. Like, it's horrible, but that was funny.
Right. That is his solution to the problem is like, well, I have to stay racist, so I guess I just have to cancel the duet-a-thon.
Yeah.
And Wembley's like, but what if you didn't stay racist? And he's like, oh, what a brilliant idea.
Genius. Just that's how he was defeated was
really hey, have you
good.
thought about not being racist? I haven't. Oh, shit. Now that I thought about it, yeah, I shouldn't be. Thank you. So they sing a lovely, adorable song called Children of Tomorrow.
Yeah, it was great.
And speaking of adorable, Cotterpin is wearing a little banana tree shirt.
She got a little Wembley shirt.
Maybe he cut up one of his spares. But just a nice little song about not discriminating against people.
And it floats all through the rock, and the Gorg and Junior hears it, and Sprocket hears it. Rachel was like, is this the last episode or something? And
it feels that way.
I was like, no, they just learn this lesson like once every 3 or 4 weeks and then forget about it.
It does feel like a great like thesis song for Fraggle Rock.
Totally.
Presumably the kangaroos heard it. The little girl in her bedroom heard it.
All over the world. They brought about world peace.
Yeah, this is how it happened. Jim realized his vision of a show that could stop war.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucinda has been saved by the magic of song.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if in like the history books it was like war was ended by Jim Henson because of his TV show? It's because of Fraggle Rock. Jim was quoted as saying, I told you. I knew it.
You all thought I was mad. But Doc says there's something magical about music. But Sprocket, where'd you learn that song?
Where does anybody learn any song?
From a hole.
That's right. That's true, because that's what speakers are, isn't it? And our mouths.
Look at that.
You accidentally said something right for once.
I'm a Wembley. Well, what'd you rate that episode, Sam?
4. That's one of the best ones.
I
Are
agree.
You kidding me?
Such a fantastic episode. And I think like if you're going to watch any episode of Fraggle Rock, if you have to show this show to someone, this is a good one to start with. Well, Sam, that means it's time for me to ask, what non-Muppet things did you enjoy this week?
I didn't watch anything, but I have a weird one, okay?
I'm ready.
I ate these potato chips. And
fantastic answer. This is maybe my favorite one you've ever brought to this segment.
Once I said it, it felt right. They're called Tim's Sasquatch Surprise. And it's not exciting because they are just, Tim's is like the kettle chip or whatever. They're just all dressed potato chips. Have you ever had all dressed potato chips? Canada.
Okay.
I don't actually dislike Canada, no matter what I say, because they have the best potato chips in the whole world. Ketchup, but these are. I ate them this weekend, and I ate literally the entire bag just to myself.
These are available in Missoula, then.
Yes.
Okay, because all dressed chips are occasionally. Well, you'll see Ruffles. They have a little maple leaf on them, and it's like Canada chips in town. Here you go. And Devin loves all dressed chips. So if we can get Tim's.
I can't guarantee it because we were up at the lake and a friend of ours lives at the lake and had them and bought them in Kalispell. So
All
you can
right.
buy them in Kalispell. I don't know that you can buy them in Missoula,
All
but
right.
dear Lord, I ate the last crumbs of it today. I just like poured them down my mouth before I came to this recording, and I was like, "This, what food could possibly be better than an all-dressed potato chip?" If you don't know what they are, they just put all the different flavorings on a chip, and it's just delightful.
Yeah, it's ketchup, barbecue sauce, sour cream and onion, and salt and vinegar, all on one chip. I might have to hunt those down. Well, I watched WrestleMania
Oh
this past
yeah.
weekend and started to play some Stardew Valley for the
Oh
first
yeah, I
time
saw
ever.
that too. What do you think about that?
I'm not as pulled into it as I think I was afraid I was going to be.
Yeah.
I got a few days in and I'm still like enjoying it, but I haven't found that hook yet. And it also
Yeah.
feels incredibly overwhelming.
I love that kind of game.
Mm,
Usually, that one just feels so slow to me, and
yeah.
slow in the way where you do think like, there's so much shit to do. How am I ever gonna do all this stuff? But
Yeah, and I feel like people are like, follow the wiki, do what they suggest, do all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to, like, I want to
don't
play this
wanna-
game to
I
relax.
don't want to read a book while I'm playing the game.
Yeah, so I like the idea of just going around fishing, planting some crops, seeing what happens, but I also don't make any money doing that.
Yeah.
So then I'm just sitting there with like $5,
Right.
can't do anything fun.
Sitting there with your thumb in your ass, not
Yeah.
making any money on your farm. But this is a hot take because people love this game and have been playing it for like a decade.
And that's why I picked it up because it's only $15 on the Switch.
Right.
And I was like, this is a perfect Switch game.
Yeah.
And it has a nice mix of, The Sims, Animal Crossing, like there's a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there's a hook to it that I'll enjoy. But I think just immediately, I don't necessarily think I'm in the right mindset to get into Stardew Valley right now.
I think if everybody was a cute animal, I'd like it a little bit better, honestly. But
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. How was WrestleMania?
It was great.
I saw a video of a man crying over The Rock and John Cena and The Undertaker doing
That
something.
checks out.
What
Yeah.
were they doing?
They all showed up as like Avengers Endgame at the end of WrestleMania.
Sweet. Did they save the day or were they bad
Yeah.
guys?
Well, The Rock's a bad guy. John Cena and Undertaker were good guys.
Oh. Did the YouTube man wrestle?
Logan Paul?
Yeah.
He did.
Okay.
He did frustratingly good.
Yeah, you've always said that you think he's really good at it, and you
I don't like
that.
him, but he's so good at being a wrestler, both on microphone and in the ring.
Yeah.
He's just very, very good. And so WrestleMania was sponsored by Prime. His like
oh no,
his
I hate that
his
too.
his drink.
Yeah.
They had the logo in the middle of the ring.
Wow.
The entire WrestleMania. And I was like, I'm at the store. I'm gonna buy a bottle of Prime. I've never had Prime in my life.
Yeah.
I'm about to buy one. It was good.
Matt, no.
It was good, Sam. I hate.
That sucks for you.
It sucks for me because I'm gonna want to drink it again.
Dang, I've heard it's good too.
It's got like coconut water in it, and it's ice
Oh.
pop flavored, so it tastes like a bomb pop melted.
Oh wow. And it just
So
really
good.
gets you hydrated, I bet, huh?
I mean, presumably, I drink a lot
Yeah.
of water, so it didn't really feel too much different. But
That stinks. I'm sorry.
so let's get out of here, Sam. But obviously, before we go, I gotta let you and the people at home know what we're watching next time, because next time we are continuing our journey through 1986 and through season 4 of Fraggle Rock as we watch the 7th, 8th, and 9th episodes of the season in error order, according to Muppet Wiki.
We're gonna be done before we know it.
We are almost done with season 4 because these 3 episodes that we are watching next time are The Perfect Blue Rolly, A Brush with Jealousy, and Wembley's Flight. And those are all on Apple TV Plus. Again, the order is probably wrong. I know for sure The Perfect Blue Rolly is on there before A Tune for Two.
It is.
So your continue watching will be really thrown off if you just try to watch them straight through.
And Apple TV has an annoying continue watching. You can't navigate back to the show very easily.
Nope. Extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
But we need to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to go to commitment.com or commitmentstuff.com where you can pick up some merch, including a brand new shirt that's kind of a very specific reference, but you can wear it to share
People
your
will get it.
appreciation.
People will get it.
Yeah, you can. It's a shirt to share your appreciation with the Muppets and to encourage conversation with other Muppet fans.
Yeah.
So find that at
Really-
commitmentstuff.com.
raise the level of discourse. It's a
Yeah.
lofty shirt.
It's an altruistic shirt
That's right.
where the money goes to us.
Well, okay, shut up.
And while you're listening to the podcast, don't forget to rate and review us on your platform of choice. You can always email us at mail@commitment.com if you have any questions or if you have any links to unseen Muppet things that the internet may be hiding from us. You can follow this podcast everywhere on social media at Commitment Pod, and you can follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.